Hello, welcome back to Bebop Review. My name's Andy Shaw, and I want to talk about this video today. It's called Jazz Scales, Bebop Scales. It's by Walk That Bass. That's the site, and it's basically a comment that I made. Basically, this guy says that bebop scales are passing notes, and he plays them in an ascending fashion. Whereas I actually put this comment down. My study of Charlie Parker has revealed that there's a bit more to bebop scales than this. I think the early boppers saw it more as just adding chromatic notes to diatonic scales, which we now call bebop scales. My study has shown that these added notes are related to the function of chords and should not just be seen as passing notes. I noticed also that Charlie Parker never plays them in an ascending line as you do here. However, having said that, this is by far the best explanation of bebop scales I've seen on YouTube. The reason why I said it's the best explanation is that he says that the minor bebop scale, or like the scale that you use on D minor, is Dorian. He calls it a Dorian, which I think is a very good way of putting it. Actually, I've never heard that term before, but certainly that's the best way to describe that scale. So he's actually answered my comment, and he's put, well, I won't tell you what he's put, you can read it yourself. It's basically like he's saying that Parker does play ascending bebop scales, and he gives me these examples. The melody in Bar 5 and 6 over B flat 7 goes to A. I won't actually read this because unless you've actually got a transcription of Billy's bounce, on your desk in front of you now, or wherever you are at this computer, all this is completely gobbledygook. So what I'll do is I'll actually go over it and just show you in Billy's bounce what he's saying. But if you look at his comment at the end, are these fragments of the bebop scale or just some chromatism? I think it's a pretty fine line. That's interesting comment, that. We'll talk about that as well. Granted, these are not long-run scalar runs. See, that's where I'm talking about when I say Parker plays descending lines. You usually can tell it's a bebop scale because you can see it's a scale. It's running down 4 or 5 notes, and you can tell easily it's a bebop scale. And he says, which, as you stated, are played descending. My point is simply that bebop scales should be thought of as flexible, not completely rigid. But the thing is, I've seen that they are rigid, especially in Charlie Parker's playing, that he does stick to certain scales and they're related to functions of chords, and he doesn't deviate from that, or don't seem to do, to me. But when he's saying they should not be sort of as flexible and not completely rigid, it means that the notes can be played in fragments. I think that's what he means. And he might be right with that, actually. That could be right. You'd have to do some study on it and actually think about it. He says they work better down, but if you want, you can play them up. But Charlie Parker doesn't actually play them up, and it is what he's showing me here is just fractions, and I don't think half of them are bebop scales anyway. So we'll go to camera, we'll look at the transcription. I'll just show you. Also he's talking there in concert pitch because he's a piano player, whereas I'm a saxophone player. So I'm going to talk in E flat, but it's the same thing. I'm just going to show you in the E flat omnibook what he's actually saying, right? And we'll just see if it holds up where he's actually saying that they're actually, these notes that he's saying are bebop notes. Okay, so here we go. So here we are on Billy's bounce. So I'll just read out what he says. He says the melody in bar 5 and 6 over B flat 7 goes A, B flat, F, A flat, A major 7th goes up to B flat. So he's talking about this, isn't it? Major 7th goes up to this G. This is in E flat, remember this book. So he's saying that is part of a bebop scale because it's the 7th note, isn't it? So in a G dominant bebop scale, that would be the passing, the added note. It's best to call it added note, not passing note. So he's saying that is the bebop note. It's ascending. He said it's ascending. Right, so that's the first one. The second one is this one here, where he says the melody in bar 7, the over F7 goes F, C, E, C, F, 5th goes to E major. Right, so that's the 5th, and it's going to that one. So what we've got is he's saying that this is a D dominant bebop scale, and this is the 7th note of that. So because this A is going up, it's a bebop scale rising. So that's another one. And in this one here, the next one down, he says, melody bar 8, the melody in bar 8, that's this one, over D7 beats 3 and 4 goes F sharp, E flat, C, C sharp, D in the next bar, over G minor, C sharp, major 7 goes up to D. So he's saying that this one here, which is A sharp, goes up to this B, which is obviously the D in concert, but it's B in alto sax. So that's a bebop scale ascending. Okay, so I suppose it means those three are ascending. So what's the next one? In the solo, Parker's solo bar 6, which is this one here, he's saying C, B, F, G, A going up to B flat, so it's this F sharp here going up to that G. That F sharp is a bebop scale. And then the last one is saying that this C going up to E. So C going up to is this A going up to C sharp. So he says that's a bebop scale arising. So that's what he says, and I can't see it myself. Let's go back up to the top and look at this one. This is F sharp going up to G, so it's a bebop scale. It's just a fragment, so there's no actual bebop scale going up. It's just that, no, we call that a appoggiatura, won't we? It's just an approach note. And I can't see, looking at that, I can't see anything really to do with bebop scales at all. Don't seem to follow a bebop scale at all. That's to me, that's just an approach note. Right, this one here is saying this A going up to C sharp is part of your bebop scale, because you've got this C sharp, which is the 7th, and then he's saying this 5th. Well, just a sec before we go on a bit, sir. He's making out as though all these chords are correct, which, remember, Charlie Parker Harmony book, I don't think it's that accurate, and chords are definitely not accurate, but we'll carry on with what he says. Because even if I believe all these chords are correct, I still don't agree with what he's saying. So he's saying this A go up to C sharp, which I don't actually agree with. And then he's saying that this A sharp here is going up to that B. Now, he's saying that these are all examples of bebop scales rising, but they're not, because this here, right, for a start, if you look at that C sharp, even just looking at it, it's linked to this C sharp over this F sharp minor chord, so that's just anticipating that, isn't it? Right, it's just anticipating this chord, and you can't just say that that's going up a bebop scale. This here is something that I've seen quite a lot in Charlie Parker's. This is a line called M5B. It's a double approach note. What it is you play half a tone above and below the note you're going to, which is that. David Baker calls it an enclosure. In David Baker's book, How to Play Bebop, he sees just 3 notes around that, but actually in this one, which is used a lot by the beboppers, you see 4 notes, the note above, and then 2 approach notes going up to this B. So that is all that is just about surrounding that. Now, when you see that, it's usually got something to do with voice leading. Parker's very good at using voice leading. If you've seen, if anybody's seen any, well, you won't have seen a transcription of the closer, but in Charlie Parker's closer, which he played at Jazz at the Philharmonic, there's a really good example of this M5B used in voice leading, going down one and then lean to another, then lean to another. And this is what you've got here. See this? You've got voice leading here, look. You've got this D going to this C sharp, going to that C, going to that B. And what does that spell? That spells a D dominant B dominant bebop scale descending. D, C sharp, C, B, right? Now, a lot of you say, oh, you've seen that voice leading and you're manipulating. But the thing is, I've actually seen that quite a bit. Sometimes Parker goes down bebop scales, but sometimes he goes down pentatonic blues scales in his voice leading. So that's really what Parker's doing. All this moving around is elaboration of this descending bebop scale here, which is in the voice leading. And then if we look down here to this, we haven't really got an ascending bebop scale, because you've got F, F sharp, G, G sharp. That's just a chromatic line, isn't it, moving up? It's not a bebop scale. I don't think it's got what to do with bebop scale. And then in this bit here, see this, F sharp, A, C sharp, B. That is an example of Charlie Parker shifting the beat, because if you look at that, those 3 notes there spell an F sharp minor chord, and if you put that there, that's what you get, F sharp minor. And where's that F sharp minor leading to? It's leading to that B, which is that B7. So if you look, see, that's just like anticipating that B7 if it was there. So Parker shifted that beat back, which is again something that he does a lot. You can see a lot in his solos. If any of you have done any studying of Charlie Parker, you'll see that quite a lot, this anticipation of shifting beats around and things like that. So basically, the only thing that I can see which I might give him credit for as an ascending bebop scale would be this approach note here. Whether he's deliberately using an approach note that is part of this G dominant bebop scale, moving up to F sharp, and he might have something there. It's something you'd have to study quite a bit. I must admit, I haven't seen that much evidence of this happening ascending bebop scales. It's merely always descending, as in this line here, and you see bebop scales going down. You don't see them that often. I think people are going over the top with bebop scales, thinking all bebop is about bebop scales, but not really. A lot of it is elaboration and these little patterns like this M5B and other patterns. So that's basically all I want to say. Basically, I'm not accepting that all these are fragments or fractions or whatever you want to call them of bebop scales going up. They're just part of patterns, and they basically, if you're going to see bebop scales, you will see it like that, in either voice leading or a line going down, and it will be very clear. Okay, so that's enough of that, so I'll see you next time.